is act. Um, that's your partner, right?
Yes, it is. Charisma Shepherd.
Cool. So I might pause a lot, just because I lost my voice, and so I'm just gonna keep my throat hydrated. Okay. All right. So walk me through where we are at in the journey, so that I can kind of figure out the best way to help guide you guys.
Okay, so we have a few leads. We made a few phone calls, and we advanced on one of them.
Okay.
And we were stuck on like finding the ARV, like finding a good uh price to offer to the
Okay.
people.
Okay. Cool. All right. So you guys got one deal. You got some leads, and it sounds like you got one deal that you're in the works with right now. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. Cool. And how did you guys get this deal?
We skip trace.
Cool.
So yeah, we
Okay.
use skip trace, and then we use call tools. You know
Okay.
what that is? Yeah,
Yep.
we're calling people up basically. So
Cool. Okay. So you skip traced it, and you called the and so this is direct to seller.
yes.
Okay. What are the seller's pain points?
What's that? Sorry, we're not really familiar with that.
No problem. Pain points is when you hear someone say pain points, it's kind of like, why do they want to sell? But it's more than why they want to sell. It's like what's hurting them, what's their pain point, what is prompting them to sell. So, common pain points: back taxes, liens, unfortunately, illness, divorce, death. It could be a lot of different things. So when you hear me ask what are the pain points, what are the real reasons that they want to sell, and what are the real reasons that they need to sell?
Okay. My partner, I'm pretty sure she's listening, but she was the one who spoke to him, so I'm pretty sure she could answer that question.
Cool. So how we doing? Good morning, good afternoon.
Hello. Sorry, my connection isn't the best right now,
Don't worry
but
about it. No problem. We can do it this way.
when I spoke to him, he was just basically stating that he just wanted a new place for like his family, but he didn't say there was like really anything wrong with the house or any of that.
Okay. All right. So when you So I'm gonna circle back then, or not circle back, but I'm gonna rewind. So what was the script that you used when you called him?
Oh, we
Uh,
have like it in our Google Doc.
Okay. So let's do just a little bit of role play. Why don't you call me? I'll be the seller. I'm not gonna be super difficult, but I just want to hear what kind of script you guys are using when you're talking to sellers. So, hi, this is Paul.
You want me to do it or him do it?
Yeah, let's go charisma only because you were the one that spoke to him. So let's start with you.
Okay, let me get the script pulled up
No
then.
problem. While you do that, I'm gonna run and get one more bottle of water. I'll be right back.
okay.
Okay. Can you send me the script? I don't have it on my phone. I don't have my computer with me.
Oh, you don't have the binder either.
Not
Was
on me, no.
oh, all right.
It's okay. It's all right. So here's what we'll do. Um, Charisma, you be the seller. I'll use the script that we use so that way you guys have something that you can reference. All right. And then it's really important that you guys master the script, whether it be my script or your script. But you got to make sure that you master some type of a script so that way it's like ingrained in your brain. Okay. So hi, I'm looking for Charisma, please.
And this is her.
Hey, Charisma. My name is Paul Argueta. Listen, we've never met. Here's why I'm calling. I came across your property at 1234 Mockingbird Lane. I just wanted to see, is there a chance you might be open to an all cash offer on that property?
Sure. Did you have an offer in mind?
That's a great question. So, Zillow says that there's a range of values in your neighborhood, anywhere between 125,000 all the way up to 200,000. Somewhere in there, I'm sure is probably a offer that you might be willing to take a look at. I mean, what price range do you think you'd be looking for?
Um, I don't know off the top of my head. I can talk to my partner about it and see.
Okay. All right, so you want to talk to your partner about it. Now, just out of curiosity, if I could get you the right price for it, what kind of a time frame do you think you'd be looking for? What are we talking about? 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 6 months? I mean, what would make it easier for you if you were to get the right offer and make this move?
Probably 60 days.
60 days. Okay, fantastic. So if I got you the right price, you could potentially move in about 60 days. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, great. And tell me, if you were to move, just out of pure curiosity, where do you think you'd move to next?
I'm not sure. I haven't thought that far into it.
Got it. Okay, so you haven't quite thought that far into it, but if you got the right price, you'd look at it and it would take you about 60 days. So here's how we buy properties. We typically buy them all cash. We don't use any agents, and because we don't use any agents, you're not going to have to pay any commissions, and so that's going to potentially save you anywhere between $8,000 to $12,000. Okay. The second way we buy properties, we buy them as is. So you're not going to have to make any repairs to the property whatsoever. Nothing. As is, where is. But we are going to be doing inspections. We're going to be checking out the big ticket items. So since we're going to be checking those things like the roof, the plumbing, the electrical, the foundation, and maybe even the pool. Do you have a pool?
No, I don't.
Okay. Well, since we're going to check those things, is there anything that you can think of that could come up during the home inspection that we should be aware of?
No, everything's been renovated, I would say.
Everything's been renovated. Okay, fantastic. Now, look, I don't know what we're going to do with this property. I don't know if we're going to keep it as a rental. I don't know if we're going to fix it and flip it. I don't know if we're going to Airbnb it. I'm not really sure what the exit strategy is going to be quite yet, but I know that we will do some type of a remodel. Is there anything that you can think of that if you could remodel on the property that you would do?
I would pull the carpet out and put new
You'd pull
carpet
the
in.
carpet out. Okay, great. So you pull the carpet out. Anything else?
And the flooring in the kitchen.
And the flooring in the kitchen. Okay, cool. And anything else?
No, nothing I can think of.
Nothing else that you can think of. Okay, cool. All right. Well, look, so here's what we're going to do next. Oh, well, just now that we've gone over all that, real quick, remind me again, why do you want to sell?
I want to downsize.
Got it. You want to downsize. Okay, fantastic. So with your permission, here's what we're going to do next. I'm going to actually pass your information over on to my partner. My partner's name is Steve. Okay, Steve, he sits behind the desk and all day long, he's just analyzing properties and looking at numbers. He makes the decisions for the properties that we buy and the properties that we don't buy. He is a really, really, really smart guy. But more importantly, he's a really nice guy and he really cares about people. So with your permission, I'm going to pass your information over on to Steve. He could call you today. He may call you in a couple days, and then he's going to run over those numbers with you. Is that all right?
Yeah, that's all right.
Okay, perfect. And in the meantime, I'm going to email you some information about who we are so that when he calls you, you know. What's your email address? And then they give me the email address, and that's it. Okay. Now, I'm recording this because I want to walk you guys through this whole journey of what that conversation just did and what I did. There was a couple key things that I did there. The first three questions are always going to be really important. Okay. I'm always going to ask them what price they want. Okay. Now, if someone says to me, well, what are you going to offer me? Right. Because you're going to get that a lot. All right. What I do is I tell them that Zillow gives them a range of values. So I tell them, look, Zillow says that the neighborhood is anywhere between 125 all the way up to 200,000. Somewhere in there, I'm sure, is your magic number. So I mean, what price range are you looking for? And then I put it right back under that. Mm-hmm.
So say for instance you ask somebody how much they want for their house and they say a number like that's way over what it's worth. Then what do you do?
Which happens a lot. Okay, so if somebody gives me a number that's really ridiculous, okay, so I shouldn't say ridiculous, but let's say it's inflated, I'll look at it and I'll be like, okay, so what you're telling me now, I don't know if you caught me doing this, but every time you gave me an answer, I repeated it and then I confirmed it with you. Is that right? New carpet. Is that what you're telling me? Am I hearing you right? So I do that on purpose. There's a reason that I do that. It's because number one, it makes people feel like they're listening. But number two, I'm getting them in alignment with me, psychologically speaking. So what happens is, did I hear you? Yes. Did you say that you need new carpet? Yes. Did you tell me that you want to downsize? Yes. And I keep doing that over and over and over again. And what happens is you've got that person saying yes multiple times during the conversation, that it's much easier to extract information from them as you get to the end of the conversation. So anyway, let's say they give me a price that's a little out of whack. All I do is I say, okay, so what you're telling me then is that you want 400,000. Is that right? And then I'm doing the same thing. They're going to say yes. Okay, great. Now, if I could get you that 400,000, I'm not saying that I can, but if I could, what kind of a time? I move on to the next part of the question. I just immediately move on to the next. I don't beat them down on the price. I don't argue with them about the price. All I do is try to get more information. So I say, okay, so you want 400,000? Fantastic. If I could get you that price, and I'm not saying I can, but if I could, what kind of time frame are you looking for? Are we talking 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 6 months? What are we talking about here? And I do that on purpose, right? Again, psychologically, I'm trying to get the price. So now I got the price. Yeah, maybe the price is a little crazy, but I'm moving on to the next step, which is their time frame. So I want to get a time frame. Now, what I've learned from experience, having done this as long as I've been doing it, is that if you ask someone, well, what's a good time frame for you? If you give people open-ended questions like that, they don't know what to respond. But if you give people options and you tell them, what are we talking about? 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 6 months, what's going to work for you? I now gave them options so they have the ability to pick an option, and now I can get their answer. It may not be the answer I want, but at least I'm getting an answer. Whereas if I tell them, hey, when do you want to move? Like, that's an open-ended question. They don't know what to say. Right? So number one, I need to know the price. If they give me a crazy price, I tell them, well, if I could get you that price, if I can get you that price, what kind of time frame are you looking for? And then I move on to time frame. Well, I mean, what would you need? 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 120 days, 6 months? What do you need? Then they give me the time frame. Okay, great. So what you're telling me is you want 400,000 and you need about 60 days. Is that right? Am I hearing you right? Okay, great. Here's the most important question you could ask after that. Where are you going to move to next? Right? And the reason that you need to know where they're going to move to next is because if they don't have any other destination in mind, then they're not really already contemplating it and moving yet. Right? But if they tell me, well, we got to move to Florida. Well, we got to go to Texas. Well, we got to get out of this house. Well, if they give you another destination, now you got a hot lead. Even if their price sounds whack, the truth is they've already given you a price, right? Maybe they haven't accepted that it's worth less yet, but they have a time frame, right? If they say, well, we want to be out of here in 60 days, and then they say we want to be in Texas or we want to be in Florida. So now you've got price, you've got timeline, and you've got destination. You got those three things, you got a hot lead. Those are the questions that you need to get every time you talk to a seller. Okay, but then you walk them through the whole conversation, right? And that's where I shifted. And then I said, okay, so here's how we buy property. Once I got those three things, then I go into how we buy property. Now, I tell them we buy cash and then as is. And then you'll notice I see a lot of people, their script is like, well, when was the last time you updated the property? Well, what kind of and it's very, and I look, those scripts work, but they're also very combative. So when I'm talking to someone, it's not combative because all I tell them is, look, we're going to buy it as is. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to make any repairs, but we're going to inspect the property. We're going to check the roof, the foundation, the plumbing, the pool. Do you have a pool? And then I say, so since we're going to inspect it, is there anything that you can think of that's going to come up during the home inspection? So what am I doing? I'm giving them an out. I'm giving them a chance to say, yeah, this might come up. Right? Versus me saying, well, what's wrong with the house? See how that's more of an attack? It's almost that people get embarrassed by that kind of stuff, right? But if you just say, look, we're going to do an inspection. I mean, is there anything that you can think of that will come up during that inspection? It's softer, and people feel more comfortable sharing information with you. And I get people to tell me all types of stuff all the time. They tell me everything about the property. Okay, great. Thank you for sharing that with me. Now, there will be some people that are going to say, property doesn't need any type of repair. It's perfect. Okay, great. It's perfect. Now, and that's where I shift again. So look, I don't know what we're going to do. I don't know if we're going to fix this and flip it. I don't know if we're going to fix it and rent it. I don't know if we're going to fix it in Airbnb. I'm not really sure what we're going to do with it yet. But we probably are going to remodel it. And if you were to remodel it, what would you do? Again, softer, right? I'm asking the same question as the inspection, but now I'm listening to what they say, and that's where I get people to tell me more stuff. Well, this and then that, and then every time they tell me something, I'll be like, okay, great. Anything else? Anything else? And I keep asking it, and then no, nothing else. Okay, great. Then I move on to the next question, and my anchor question is, listen, I appreciate you sharing all that stuff with me. Remind me again, why are you selling? So, but at this point, I've taken them through this whole journey, right? They've given me all this information. It only feels natural for them to just tell me the truth as to why they're selling now. Whereas most people will try to ask that in the beginning, like, why are you selling? And like they, people again, their guard is still up. At this point, they've told me everything. What difference does it make now telling me why they're selling? So most people will tell me when I do this in this order, right? Why are you selling? Well, we got to get out of this house. Well, divorce. Well, whatever. It doesn't make a difference. Then they tell me. And then the last thing that I did after that was I said, I'm going to pass him on to my partner. Since you guys are working together, this will work fantastic for you guys. You can then build each other up. All right. So I'm going to pass you on to my partner, Charisma. Charisma, she sits behind the desk. She reviews all the numbers all day long. It's her job to decide which houses we buy and which houses we don't buy. Okay. Tahir makes those decisions. He reviews the numbers all day long. That's what he does. But and here's the thing: he's super smart. He's super sharp. One of the brightest guys I've ever met. But more importantly, he cares about people. He cares about everybody's well-being. That's what I love about him the most. Now look what I'm doing. Okay, I am building up the credibility of my partner. Right? It's called third-party edification. Do you guys know why I'm doing that?
Does it establish more trust with you and the seller?
Well, the seller doesn't know me, so there's no real trust between me and the seller. But what's happening is now I'm building up the credibility of this third party. So when the third party comes, I don't like to compare it too much to the way you buy a car, but it's similar to that concept where it's like you go, there's a salesperson, they set you up, and then they bring the finance person in. Right? Finance person makes a decision. Well, what we're doing is we're building the credibility up of a third party so that they respect that person, right, a little bit more. But then we're also talking about how smart they are, they make the decisions, but more importantly, we're also saying, and they're really nice, they care about people. So we're softening it up too. We're saying that, look, this person's a shark, but they're really nice. Yeah. So you do that. So when your partner calls them, they have a little bit more respect for that person, and they're a little bit more open to the information that they're going to share with them. So you guys just have to get good at building each other's credibility, third party credibility up when you're handing the call off. Right? That
Okay.
also opens the possibility for good cop, bad cop. So later on, when you got to drop the price or you got to negotiate the price or you got to hammer down the price, right? You can play good cop, bad cop with one another too. Because that does happen a lot. That's part of our business, unfortunately. It is what it is. And then you hand the call over. So that's the script that I use. That's what we use, and it works. All right, I'll share the written version of it with you guys too, but it's important that you practice it with one another and do scripts and role playing.
Okay.
Okay, now let's go to the client. So now we don't really know why the client wants to sell them, huh? We don't have any real like pain points or anything like that, other than the fact that they want to downsize. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. All right. Do we know when they purchased it last? If not, no big deal. This is why we're on this call. These are the things that I want you to check for, okay? Do you have the address? You want to review it together?
Wait, say that one more time. You broke off.
What I was saying was, do you have the address? Do you want to comp this one together?
Isn't it the 925 here?
Mm-hmm. It's 925 Beeman Street.
925.
BEMAN.
What city?
Augusta.
All right. Let me share my screen. Let's review this. All right. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right, cool. All right, so where did this go now? Okay. 925 Beeman, yeah? This is the property?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so a couple things I noticed right off the bat. All right, so 2,700 square feet is pretty big. All right. Um, so just keep in mind that are we looking at this as a wholesale deal or as a creative finance deal? Which one?
Wholesale.
Also.
Wholesale? Okay. So when we're looking at wholesale deals, bigger properties are a little bit more challenging to sell, okay, because the repairs are a little high. They cost more because they're bigger. But let's take a look at this anyway. I'm gonna look at the street view real quick. And this is just one single family house, right?
Mhm.
Okay. All right. Doesn't look too bad, right? When did he purchase him? Built in 1910. Sold in 2016 for 30,000. Okay. All right. Always make sure that you come check the home details and always check the price and tax history. Okay, this is very, very important because if they just purchased the property, then there's not much that you're going to be able to negotiate if they just purchased it. And you'd be surprised how many people actually have bought a house like 4 or 6 months ago who were wholesalers. They purchased them and then they just put them back on, they put them on the market with an agent to try to sell them. So anyway, that's one thing. All right. So let's figure out how to comp it. I'm going to give you guys a tool so that you can comp it yourself. How are you comping them right now? What do you guys use to comp? Do you have a calculator or something? Or do you have a tool? Do you use Privy or what do you use?
I guess we just use the calculator.
Now,
Okay.
when you say comped, what do you mean by that?
In other words, if I look at this property, how do I know how much I'm supposed to offer on it? And how much this thing is going to be worth if it's fixed up?
Oh. Well, we've been watching videos and stuff and just kind of looking at other people's formulas and trying to do that.
Mhm.
This is the part where we got lost.
Okay. Well, hopefully this will help you out. So did he give you a price? Did he tell you how much he wanted?
He told me he wanted 400,000 something dollars.
400,000? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's take a look real fast. So here's what I do. I typically open up one Zillow screen and then I open up the second one. Same exact property, okay? And then I come here and then I'll take a look at the map to figure out where it's at. Okay, it's in Augusta, just to the right of Midtown and below Harrisburg. I open up the second window and I try to zoom in to exactly where it's at. So it's right around here. Now, when it comes to comps, you never cross natural boundaries. So you never cross like lakes, rivers, streams, mountains. You don't cross that. You also don't cross like highways. Okay, so or major streets. You stay away from highways or major streets. So what that means is that the best comps for this property are going to be, you can draw on Zillow, are going to be here. These are going to be the best ones. You see what I'm doing?
Mm-hmm.
Those are the best ones. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go to sold. Then you go to only houses. And then I only want to see houses that have sold in the last 14 days. Only 14. Now, what happens was now this is I only have one sale and this is not a good comp. Look, they're already trying to rent it. But let's see what they bought it for. They bought it for 140 in November. half the size, about a third of the size. So, okay, let's now go back. If you can't find anything in 14 days, go back to 30 days, okay? Apply. All right, now we got some stuff for 30 days. So in the last 30 days, we got some houses that have sold. They're all smaller though. See, his is big. That's the challenge. Is that where are we going to find? So nothing has sold there in the last 30 days that are as big as his. Let's see, 90 days. Okay, cool. Now we've got some bigger ones, and they're all around here. So let's also go to square footage. Now, for square footage, you can go 20% up and 20% down. So since this is 2,700 square feet, that means that I can go like as low as 2,000 or as high as 3,500, I think. Something like that. 2,000 might be too much, but whatever. Let's click apply. And now we have one for 300. All right. So now you got this one that sold for 300. It's not a flip, but it's in livable condition. You guys agree?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Not bad. So this one sold for 300,000. Now this was also in September, but it sold for 300,000, and this one's 2,200 square feet. His is 2,700 square feet. His is much larger. Do we know what the inside looks like or no?
No, I don't.
Okay, so we may also have to schedule a time to get in there. But anyway, so in my opinion, if this one sold for 300, all right, and it's 2,200 square feet, and it's in good livable condition, as long as his in good livable condition, I don't see why his shouldn't sell for maybe 350. But let's look at the street view. So this street, yeah, it's not a bad street, right? This will be a challenge though. If we got cars just left on the on the uh, on the driveway, and then okay, so I'm not sure about the neighborhood. Let's take a look at this one. I want to see the street view here. See, these are the things you have to look at. Is this street view nicer? And in my opinion, I think this street is probably, yeah, look, it's a little bit nicer, right?
Mm-hmm.
You've got curbs, you've got all that stuff. See, these are the things that, like, as investors, you got to watch out for. So you've got sidewalks, you've got curbs. Unfortunately, over here, there's no sidewalks, it's just lawn, there's no curbs. Those are the little things that affect value, right? So this is in a more desirable neighborhood, it looks like. Okay, this one, which is why maybe it'll get maybe 325. So anyway, now we need to figure out what the repairs are. All right, I think this is probably going to be worth maybe 325, but I don't know because I don't know what the insides looks like. I mean, it looks like it's kind of maintained. I can't really tell. That's a aluminum roof, so it looks like it's okay. But and it looks like they're starting to do. If you look, you see the paint. They were going to redo the porch. So, are you guys local in the area?
No, we're about like 2.5, 3 hours away. We're like closer to Atlanta.
Okay, so what I would do if this was my deal, I would call the seller and I would say, hey, can you do me a favor? Can you please get me interior photos? We're crunching our numbers right now. We're trying to figure out if this is something that we can do and if we can get to your price. I know you want 400, but without seeing it and without seeing those photos, it's difficult for us to make that decision. So can you send me the photos that I need? And then I'll give you a list of the photos. Like I do this too. I send it to the sellers and I tell them, just give me all these photos, a picture of every bedroom, and I have a description on how I do it. And I'll send it to you. I wish I could send it to you through, hold on. I'll give it to you right now. But yeah, I think 325 is probably what this thing is worth. Fixed up, really, really nice. Maybe 350.
So would you say like how some websites will say what it's worth? Are those usually not accurate?
Yeah, because it's AI. It doesn't know. Here's what I tell them to send. I just sent that through the chat. But I can also send it to you to here. I'll shoot it to you through Messenger on Facebook so you have it. But I text sellers that all the time. Here's the photos I need. If I can
Okay.
get you your price, cool. Just send these to me. Let me look at them. All right. That would be my next step. Now, here's the deal. Let's just say that we find out. Okay. I'm gonna share this with you, and then I actually have to get going. But this is the calculator that I use. All right. Now let's look at this property again. And let's say that we find out that this property, it's not a major fixer, but it needs work. Okay. Here are the numbers that I use. If a property is a lipstick fixer, meaning all it needs is flooring and paint, just lipstick and paint, right? Flooring and paint, that's $25 a square foot. All right. This house is 2,700 square feet. You're looking at 70,000. Always round your repairs up and always round your values lower. Don't do it the other way around. Okay. So in this case, 67, I tell everybody repairs are going to be about $70,000 to $75,000. All right. If it was just paint and carpet. Now, if it's a remodel, so I got to do paint, carpet, flooring, and a remodel, I do about 45 to 55. Let's just say 50 times 2,700 square feet. You're now at $135,000 just in repairs. That's when it's a remodel. Okay. So going back to what I said when we first started, I tend to stick to homes that are 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, 1,000 to 1,500 square feet. Why? Because those are easy. Those are bread and butter homes. They get bought and sold quick. And since they're not too large, the repairs isn't too extreme. $135,000 for a remodel, that's a lot of money for an investor to float, and they get scared. Yeah. Now, if it's a dump and it really needs a lot of work, it's about $75 a square foot to $85. So imagine it'd be $200,000 to rehab this if it was a dump. I don't think it's a dump because it looks like it's in an okay shape. But I want you to know what the numbers are. You with me?
Mm-hmm.
So let's just assume that in this case, the repairs are about $120,000. This is the calculator that I use, and I'll share it with you too. So you come here, you can type in whatever fee you want for your wholesale fee. My wholesale fee, my minimum standard is nothing less than $15,000, period. Okay. So that's what our standard is for our whole organization here. Nothing less than 15. Now our goal price, this is the price that we want to get it at. All right. Investor's price is what the investor will pay, which is your wholesale fee plus your price. That's the investor price. The rehab, let's say the rehab is 120. Now we've already determined ARV stands for after repaired value. So the ARV, let's say the ARV in this one, if it's super fixed up, maybe 350, maybe 375. I don't know, because it's big, so it's tough to compare. But let's say 350. All right. Now, here's how you know your numbers. This helps you determine what price you want to get it at. If somebody's going to do a hard money loan, do you guys know what hard money is?
No, I don't.
Okay. All right, no problem. That's why I asked. So when people go and buy a property so that they could flip, most of them don't use all their own cash. Okay, most of them.
Okay.
The reason they don't use their own cash is because number one, it's risky. But number two, every time that you can leverage other people's money, you've heard this, right? Other people's money, you're doing better as an investor. So there are banks out there that will lend on flips for these investors. And it doesn't matter what their credit score is. It doesn't matter what they have in the bank. None of that's important. What's important is how much will that property be worth once it's fixed. Hard money lenders lend not on the applicant, but based on the property's return, because they know that if they lend the money to fix this property up, if it's structured, if the deal's structured right, the hard money lender can just foreclose on it if the buyer doesn't make the payments, take the property and sell it for a profit. So they will lend to people based on the property. So a hard money lender requires that you put 15% down. So your 15, right? And their 85% makes the whole loan. And they will lend you when you're a hard money lender. They will, I mean, you're an investor. Hard money lenders will lend you the cost of the repairs and the cost of the what the future value is. So the total from the loan would actually be 433,000. In other words, they're going to lend you the ARV and they're going to lend you the money for the rehab. So that's where it comes out to about 433. You guys understanding that or no?
Okay.
You might have to watch this a couple times to get it, but so the bank is going to lend the money to buy the property plus the repairs. Sorry, 390 plus 120 is 433. My bad. That's how we got that number. The price to get it and the price to fix. That's what hard money lenders will lend you. They will cover 85% of that. You, Mr. Investor, have to come up with 15%. Okay?
Okay.
So investor comes up with 15%, 64,000, and then they buy the property. But if they do the hard money loan and they try to resell this for 350, they're losing 225 after all the expenses. Loan, commissions, depreciation, closing costs, private money, interest, mortgage payments, all that stuff. This calculator will tell you what price you have to get the property at in order for this to make sense. So you know that if you buy it at 375, you're buying it too high. Way too high. Now, if you bought it for 250, guess what? Now they invest 62, they're losing 112. Okay? Still too high. So in order for us to get this property, we have to get it for about 110. And now they invest 60 to make 13. Still risky, but most investors they'll invest in a property if they can get a 20 to 30% return. 30% return is ideal. 20% is acceptable. So that means that for every dollar they spend, they got to make a minimum of 20 cents. So if they spend 60, they need to know they're going to make at least 20 here. And they'll probably do the deal. Yeah?
Okay, yeah, it's starting to make a little bit more sense. We'll definitely, I know I'll definitely probably have to watch this
You're going to
over
have to
again.
watch it again. But what I just taught you was how you can then determine what price you need to get it at so that you can sell it to an investor. An investor won't touch this for anything more than 125. But again, I'm just giving you an example because I don't know what the repairs are. I have no idea. And the ARV on this one might be even higher than 400,000. I didn't really give it the total attention I needed because this sold for 300, but there really hasn't been anything bigger than that. That's the problem. And I can remove
Now,
the
how did
boundary.
you make that Excel calculator sheet?
Oh, I'm going to give it to you. You can have it.
Oh, okay.
Oh, look, here's one that sold for 375. Look at that. But again, and this is way bigger. Okay? And this just sold in August. But now look at this. Look at this house. That's like a little bit of a trophy house, huh? Historic too. Pretty
Yeah.
nice. Okay, but now here's the thing. Look at the street view. Like, look at the difference in the street. Well, this doesn't have curbs either, but it sort of does. But this is like a tree-lined street, like, you know, like something out of a movie. You know what I mean? So, like, it's a better house on a better street. And this sold for 375.
Mm-hmm.
You know, these are the things you got to look at when people start throwing prices your way. Okay, let me look at the street. Let me check out the neighborhood. Let me see what's going on. So anyway, yeah, I'll share this with you guys when we're done. But you are going to have to mess with this. So when you get it, you can't edit the version I send you. So you just go File, make a copy, and then you'll have your own copy that you can use.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Okay, so I covered a lot right now. I'm going to stop presenting, and then I'm going to stop recording too. recording. Okay.